You will see a window like this when you start New Project. The screen looks like your mobile device. You can design the user interface of your app to suit your mobile device. The top right corner of the window has two buttons, Designer and Blocks. The Designer window allows you to design user interfaces, while the Blocks window allows you to write code to make things work. Let's start by designing the interface. Remember from the design of the Tree Museum, we want our app to display the pictures and descriptions about the trees. You can also change the name of the components using Rename on the Component panel. I'll rename the screen as Tree Museum. Drag the components of the user interface and drop them on the screen. Let's add components to the screen. Image to display the pictures of the trees. You can change properties, perhaps width as fill parent and height as 200 pixels. Similarly, we can add labels and buttons. Remember, you can arrange the interface using Layout. For example, drag horizontal arrangement and place components inside it. You can change the properties of the components using the Properties window on your right-hand corner. We can upload all the images that will be used in this app to the media. Alright, the user interface looks good. Now let's move into the most important part of the app development, coding the functionalities. Switch to the Blocks window and start coding. First, we need to figure out what our variables will be. Variables are used to store information. In this example, we need variables to store information about images, names of trees, scientific names of trees, families of trees, and their origin. Since we do have a number of trees in the museum, we can use lists. Let's see how we do this. Click on Variables and drag the Initialize block. You can start with the names of trees. Let's name this variable as NameList. Now we need to make a list and add items to it. In this example, I'm using 12 trees. Therefore, I'm adding 12 items. Now we need to add the names of the trees using the text block. Similarly, you can initialize other variables and create lists. In addition, you need to create another variable to store the index of the lists. For example, when you first load the app, you need to display information about the first tree. Let's display the information about the first tree using screen.initialize event. Remember, this is the first event that you need to code when the screen is loading. We need to set the values of the first tree, such as the name, scientific name, family, and so on. Next, we need to write our code for the button click event. This way, you can get the next button working. When the next button is clicked, what we want to do is move to the next item in the lists. To do this, we need to increment the index by 1. In order to increment the index, we use math blocks. Alright, we know that we have only 12 items. But what will happen when we reach the last tree by clicking on the next button? We can do several things, such as adding a back button to get the user back, or we can set the index to 1 when we reach the end. In this example, I would like to set the index to 1. We can use a branch to do this. Go to the control block and drag if-then. Now we need to set the condition. Our condition should be if the index is greater than 12, then we set the index to 1. Let's see how we can do this. Now we can do the same sequence of steps as we did in the screen.initialize. All right. Let's see whether our app is working. In order to test this, you can either use your Android device or a built-in emulator. We're going to show you how to do this using an emulator. Feel free to try it using both methods. It's all good and it looks like it's working. Now imagine that you need to modify this app to automatically load the information of the trees without clicking the next button. We can do this using a repetition block. Repetitions are used to perform repetitive tasks, such as to load the picture of the tree repeatedly. Let's see how we can do this. We can use the repetitive blocks from the control, such as the for each do or while do. Likewise, you can try out several things with the App Inventor. Feel free to try out more tutorials and make your apps.